Hey fermenters, Austin here, and I want to show you a cool app I found that helps me manage my time as I'm making sourdough bread. So the name of the app in the Google Play Store is called Interval Timer. So I use the Rower Store, but it's the same. And it is the Interval Timer app by DreamSpark on Android. If you're on iOS, it looks like the icon is the same, but the developer is not DreamSpark, so you won't find it if you search by that. But Suao Huang looks like. Interval Timer Plus is the name on iOS, but that's the same app. So these instructions will help you whether you're on Apple or Android. So when you open the app, if it's brand new, you won't have obviously the list of presets here, but we're going to go ahead and add a preset for making bread. And it's a pretty feature-rich app, so you can kind of play around with it. You can customize things like the alarm sounds and how many beeps it makes and that sort of thing. The really cool thing, especially this is a free app, there's a pro version too, but the free app works great, is that it actually talks. So very cool stuff here. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and add a new preset. And then I'm going to switch over to the advanced tab here. And we're just going to call the program that we're making bread dough. And you'll see that it's organized into different sets, and that each set has different tasks within it. So I'll show you how to set this up just so that it'll be perfect for making your dough. So the first thing we want to do is in our first I guess block here, I don't know if that's considered a set, but see the first block that's yellow. I'm going to go ahead and put in the first task of making our dough, which is to mix the dough together. So you want to mix the flour, the sourdough starter, and the water. And it's not that important to grammar or capitalization because the app will actually just capitalize everything. So for this step, it's going to be 30 minutes after we've done the step. So that's kind of how I think of it here. So we've got 30 minutes under time. You don't need to worry about reps because it's just going to be one rep. Now again, this is an app that's written for interval timer or interval training type of stuff. So we're sort of using it for a different purpose than which it was designed, but it really works very well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add another task within this set. So I'm tapping this plus button. You kind of see now a blue step comes in. And this step is going to be adding the salt, a little bit more water, and starting the turns. Now again, the turns themselves will be repeated 5 or 6 times, but this particular step we're going to also set for 30 minutes. And then we've got this block ready to go. One set of each of these steps. So the next block here is actually going to be doing the turns. And if you follow my recipe, you know that once you mix the dough together, you do turns about every half hour for about the next 3 hours. So I'm going to go ahead into this block and call the step do a turn. And this will actually have, I'm setting the number of sets here to 5 sets. And the reason is because even though we're doing 6 sets total, or 6 turns, the very first turn that we did is back up here in the first step. So we really just need 5 more. And again, each of these will be 30 minutes in between. And we can go ahead and delete this second where it says rest. We can just delete that step. So I just so happen to be making a loaf of bread while recording this little tutorial. Pretty handy. So I'm going to go ahead and do my turn, which of course, again, if you follow my recipe, one turn is 3 actual folds, and I go from 12 to 6, then I turn the bowl 1/3 of the way around, then I do that again, fold it over onto itself, turn it 1/3 of the way around, and one more fold, and that's a turn. And we'll be doing these every half hour for about the next 3 hours. Now, after we've set up our loop of do a turn steps, we're going to go to this next block and add a few more steps. So the next step will be pre-shaping the loaf. And again, after pre-shaping, I usually let it sit another, again, 30 minutes just to round it up. It could be 20 or 30 if you want. And then we're going to add one more task within this set. That's going to be final shaping the loaf. And then, of course, after that, placing it into the refrigerator for proofing. Now that step itself doesn't really require 30 more minutes, so you can set this to anything you want. Just say, let's say 3 minutes. Because after that final step, then it's going to sort of indicate that you're finished. So you can kind of see, so we're finished configuring that. And you got to be careful when you're navigating this app, because you can kind of see it's easy to move blocks up and down accidentally. So then the finish step will just literally just, like it says, finish. And at this point, you've put the dough in the refrigerator, and it's going to be proofing overnight, usually at least for 12 to 16 hours. So that's it. That's how you would set up a preset for making bread dough. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the little disk save button up here. And now we've got a step called making the bread dough. And like I said, once this gets started, it'll actually talk. So I'll show you that in a second. So another great feature of this app is you can actually move the steps forward and backward manually if you don't want to wait. So first thing I'm going to do is just tap the start button on the new program.
Mix flour, starter, and water.
Isn't that cool? It talks. So, and then it just gives you a big, easy to read timer. And this obviously will run in the background even if you're not actively looking at it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it, and I'm going to just manually go to the next step.
Add salt, water, and start turns.
So you can kind of see how it works, what we typed in and where it's showing up here. So if you wanted to customize the verbiage for the machine to tell you, what to do, you can be as specific or as general as you want. So I'm going to go into the next step here manually.
Do a turn.
So now you can see we're in the turns, and you can see in this case you've got 5 in terms of the number of turns that are, or number of steps in the set that are left to do. So I'm going to manually kind of push through these so you can kind of see all of the steps.
Do a turn. Do a turn. Do a turn. Do a turn.
Okay, now we're getting to our last turn. The next step after that.
Pre-shape loaf.
Once we pre-shape the loaf, put it again for a half hour.
Final shape the loaf, place in fridge for proofing.
And then that would be the last step. And as we finish that, it tells us we're finished. So that's how you would configure the making dough preset. Now you can also go ahead and do a baking bread preset, which I just configured. and I will go through that in a different video. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's a pretty cool tool to be able to use interval timers to remind us when we are in the midst of multitasking and making bread while doing other stuff. Thanks for watching. If you like our video, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to our channel, and let us know how it worked out for you by leaving a comment below. Also, be sure to check out our website at fermentersclub.com. And thanks again for watching.